What if I told you that a newly independent nation, once reliant on foreign aid and struggling with food shortages, secretly built one of the most formidable deterrents known to mankind, a nuclear bomb? And what if I told you they did it not with the world's blessing, but in defiance of it? The story of how India got the bomb isn't just about science or technology. It's a saga of determination, deception, global politics, and a desire to never be humiliated again. The dream began shortly after India's independence in 1947. While most developing countries were focused on survival, India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, envisioned a future powered by nuclear energy. But he wasn't alone. Enter Homi Bhabha, the father of India's nuclear program. With a vision of atoms for peace, Bhabha laid the foundations for what would one day become a nuclear deterrent. India launched a peaceful nuclear program under the Atomic Energy Commission. With Canada's help, the Cyrus reactor was built. And with American support under the Atoms for Peace initiative, nuclear knowledge flowed freely. But then came 1962. The brief but brutal India-China war shocked the nation. India was humiliated, defeated, vulnerable. That loss triggered a seismic shift in strategic thinking. Suddenly, a peaceful nuclear program wasn't enough. India realized that in a region where China had tested its first nuclear bomb in 1964, survival might depend on building one of its own. But India didn't rush. It played the long game. It chose a strategy known as recessed deterrence. That meant it wouldn't announce a weapons program, but would quietly build the capability, just in case. Then came the breaking point. In 1974, under the leadership of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, India shocked the world by conducting its first nuclear test at Pokhran in the Rajasthan desert. The test was codenamed Smiling Buddha. Officially, India called it a peaceful nuclear explosion. But the world knew better. This was India's entry into the nuclear club. The test triggered an immediate global backlash. The United States and Canada imposed sanctions. Technology transfer stopped. Nuclear fuel supply was cut off. India was isolated. But instead of backing down, India doubled down. Blocked from buying enriched uranium, India began developing its own nuclear fuel cycle. Scientists at BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, developed indigenous reprocessing techniques. India's vast thorium reserves became a critical resource. The isolation became a blessing in disguise. It forced India to become self-reliant. While the world watched, India went silent. For over 2 decades, there were no tests. But behind the scenes, a quiet revolution was underway. India began working on delivery platforms. The Agni series of missiles was developed, capable of carrying nuclear warheads. The country worked on Sukhoi bombers and sea-based capabilities. Eventually, India began to construct its own nuclear submarines, leading to the completion of a full nuclear triad: land, air, and sea-based deterrence. Then came 1998. In a series of dramatic moves, Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ordered 5 nuclear tests at Pokhran, collectively called Pokhran II. This time, India made it official. It declared itself a nuclear weapons state. The response? Another round of sanctions, but the geopolitical climate had changed. Within a few years, the United States began to see India as a counterbalance to China. In 2008, the India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement was signed, ending decades of nuclear isolation and opening the doors for civilian cooperation without India signing the NPT. Today, India's nuclear doctrine is built around a simple concept: minimum credible deterrence. It promises no first use but assures massive retaliation if attacked. Estimates suggest India holds around 160 to 180 warheads. It has operationalized multiple Agni missiles, including Agni-V with a range of over 7,000 km. The Navy has launched SSBNs like the INS Arihant and INS Arighat, cementing India's second strike capability. But this journey wasn't just about bombs. India's focus on nuclear energy has also remained strong. From Kalpakkam's fast breeder reactor to ambitious plans of reaching 100 gigabarus of nuclear power by 2047, India sees atomic energy as a cornerstone of its energy security and climate goals. Yet the story doesn't end here. India's neighbor, Pakistan, developed its own nuclear capability in response to India. The two countries now maintain a tense nuclear balance. There have been moments, like the 2019 Pulwama Balakot standoff, when nuclear escalation became a real threat. But thanks to strong deterrence and back-channel diplomacy, disaster has been averted. India continues to invest in next-gen systems like MIRV, capable Agni-VI, better satellite surveillance, and secure communications. Meanwhile, diplomacy remains key. India is not a signatory of the NPT or CTBT, but it is widely viewed as a responsible nuclear power. This transformation, from a peaceful scientific dream to one of the most complex deterrents in the world, didn't happen overnight. It took decades of vision, grit, and geopolitical chess. So what can we learn from how India got the bomb? We learn that isolation can breed innovation, that ambition, when guided by strategy, can change the course of a nation, and that sometimes the pursuit of peace requires the threat of immense power. As the world now faces new challenges, cyber threats, rogue nations, and space-based weapons, India's nuclear journey serves as a reminder. Technology, when driven by national interest and built on self-reliance, becomes more than just a deterrent. It becomes a declaration that a nation will stand tall, no matter what. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Comment below. Do you think India should expand its nuclear arsenal, or focus more on clean energy? Hit the like button if you believe in the power of self-reliance. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp,